YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about the chosen ones are very sensitive. This is a good thing, by the way. So ever since you were a child, ever since you were a young child, you've always been really sensitive. And you know this. I know that you know this. That you've always been like really in tune with people's emotions. You've always been in tune with your emotions. You've always just like felt things more strongly than most people in a way. Like, you could notice like slight changes in the way people feel instantly. Like someone will go from being happy to a little distressed. You'll notice it, like they don't have to say anything. You would already know it. Or like certain things will make you feel a certain way, and like people have maybe called you like, oh, you're too sensitive or whatever, like a bunch of gaslighting that you're sensitive or that you overreact and everything like that. So chosen ones, you're empathetic. You're like, as they say, like you're an empath, you're empathetic. You've been like this ever since you were a child. This is how God made you. He made you, all of his chosen ones, that's how they are. They have really high energy, really high vibrations, as they call it, like a really high frequency to them. And they're very sensitive, because the reason you have the sensitivity is because you were born full of love. You were born full of righteousness. You're always righteous. You can always tell what's right and wrong. So in order to be righteous and to know what's right and wrong, you have to be sensitive. You have to be sensitive to people's emotions. This is why it's basically near impossible for you to like hurt anybody. Like you can't you don't really have it in you to like hurt anybody. Like you can see how people feel. You feel their emotions strongly, and whenever like maybe someone did you wrong and like they hurt you, and like they did you wrong, and like they kind of like, affected you, hurt your feelings. Like your brain, you may have wanted to like hurt them and be like, I need to take revenge on this person. This person made me angry. But like in one of my old videos where I said chosen ones have a heart of gold. Your heart, it's not in your heart to do stuff like that. So if people affected you and hurt you and like hurt your feelings or like made you angry, like you could try to take revenge on them, but your heart doesn't let you. It's kind of like you just walk the other way. You're just like, you know what, I'm not even gonna just like affect myself doing this and taking revenge. I'm just gonna let God handle it if he wants to. Anything else, so like you don't really care. Like you're quick to forgive, and you don't want to like step on anybody or like do anything like that. It's not even in you. But you've probably noticed that throughout your whole life, and even now, like as you get older, you're still like sensitive. Like you still don't desire to hurt anyone. You still desire good. You still desire good above all. You still desire righteousness and love. You desire God, because God is love. So you desire that. He created you in his image in a way. He created you like him. So this is why you're loving and sensitive. Like if you have a high vibration, if you have a high frequency, you have a high vibration, that comes with sensitivity, because you could kind of see everything for what it is. And the discernment that you have is like a product of your sensitivity too. Since you're sensitive to frequencies and emotions and the way people feel and the way you feel, your discernment is very strong. So it kind of mixes together all in one like good way. But yeah, you probably have people try to tell you that, oh, you're too sensitive, oh, you're feeling too much, or you're doing that, or like, don't get me wrong though. Like you're like, as a chosen one, like you're incredibly strong. You're just meek, and meek doesn't mean you're weak or submissive. Meek just means you're sensitive. You don't want to hurt people. You're not aggressive, as they call it. But you're extremely powerful. If you were weak, you wouldn't have been still standing after all the trials and tribulations you've been through your whole life, all the traumas you faced, all the bad things you faced. If you're truly weak, then you wouldn't have been able to get back up on your feet that quickly if you're truly weak. So sensitive doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you're highly in tune with emotions. You feel people's emotions. You can feel the whole atmosphere. So this is why you probably walk into, depends where you go. So if you go to a positive area, with positive people, you're gonna go there and it's gonna feel good. You're gonna feel the energy, and the energy is positive, and people are confident and happy. But if you go to places full of sin, full of darkness, like you go to places like bars, you go to clubs, you go to maybe you went to a rave or something, which these places there's a lot of people, but these places are bad because they're full of drugs. They're full of people living in the flesh. There's a lot of lust there. People want to have sex. They they want to do drugs, they want to drink, they want to kind of go crazy in a way. Like this is the type of people these places attract. So if you've probably gone to these places and you being sensitive, you being in tune with everyone's like emotions, you go to these places and you could instantly tell it feels dark. Some people look angry, some people just look just weird in a way, some people just look almost crazy. People are going crazy. People are maybe hating on each other, trying to fight each other, and all these places are just like dark. And whenever you walk in, since you're so in tune and you're like sensitive to emotions, you walk in there and it's like overwhelming. You're like, no, I need to get out of here. Like, this is negative. Everyone just looks crazy in a way, as much as I hate saying it. But yeah, this is how you've been ever since birth. You've been set apart by the world. You've been of God since you were born, whether that you know it or not. You've been God's possession ever since you were born. That's why your life has been going a certain way. This is also why you cannot do anyone wrong, and this is also why like whenever you try to do something wrong, like you get disciplined like that. You get disciplined like that, and like you find out that thing is totally wrong, and you go the other way. Because God, whenever you're God's possession, you're His possession. You're of Him. He doesn't let you fall, like, because you've been righteous since birth. He doesn't let you fall. He doesn't let you go. Doesn't let you go that way and destroy yourself. He doesn't, like, you may have done it sometimes because you didn't know, and you, just like I have, like I've done bad things. I'm not gonna lie. I've done well, not like bad, but like, you know, I've been going to places full of sin, places like parties and all these things, and like, you may have thought like they were fun and everything, but every time I've gone there, like, just the energy's just like, just more dark. It's like more, it's not right. And every time I've always felt convicted in going there. It's like, I've always been like, I shouldn't be here. I should have been here, but I kept doing it. Whenever you ignore that inner feeling that God gives you, and you keep doing that thing, then you're going to find out why you shouldn't do it. Like, something bad may happen, or something like, just something negative will happen. And you know you're not supposed to be there because you have God's guidance your whole life. It's like your intuition in a way, but that's God. He guides you to the right places if you're His own possession. But yeah, you've always noticed that, like, maybe ever since you were a child, you may have had people like hate on you ever since you were a child. Like, maybe they treated you poorly, or they didn't know who you were. And like, you're sensitive, so you're like, man, what are they doing? And it kind of brought you down. It kind of brought you down ever since you were young. And this is where like a lot of traumas come from, because like, you're like, why are they treating me this way? Like, I'm not even, like, you're a kind person. You're always a kind person. You're a loving person, but a lot of people in the world are demonic. Ever since they were young, they've been like, they're just people that they didn't know any better. Like, they may try to bully people, put people down, fight people. And you've never been like that. You've always just been more like loving and kind, and like you like the brightness of life. So whenever you couldn't get that, you're like, man, where's the light? Like, I'm just here full of darkness. It's like I'm the only light here. It's like I'm the only one that wants to see the good, that wants to be around good things. Everyone else is like the opposite. And you've probably been like that your whole life. It's because you're of God. You're set apart by the world. Most of the world just fits in the world. Like, they don't have the highest moral compass. They don't have they don't see things like you do. That you see things through an air of like sensitivity. Your vibration is really high, and you see how people feel. You see how like entire areas, like the vibration of the areas and everything. You see the total frequency of it. You could tell if it's negative or positive, like right off the bat. You've been doing this since you were a child. You've always been super spiritually sensitive. But yeah, ever since you were young, though, you may have had like all these situations, and like they kind of put you down, because you're like, man, what is going on? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, why is no one like me? It's because you were set apart by God. You've been God's own possession ever since you were born. Like, you were His possession. It's like He was like, that's mine. That's my child. So because of that, you were filled with His spirit. That's why it's like basically impossible for you to do what everyone else is doing and like treat people the way everyone else does. Because sadly, a lot of people are, especially now that you get older, a lot of people are manipulative. A lot of people live in their flesh. They live in their flesh. They don't care. They fornicate. They just lust after everything. They treat people poorly. They do a lot of things. They try to step on people. They do a lot. But like they're lost. Hopefully they find God so they could change their ways. I pray for them dearly. But ever since you were born and now you've always been of God. You've always had this high moral compass. You've always had this like love for people. And like this is how you're sensitive. You're sensitive. It's in a good way. Like your sensitivity is good. But the dark side of it though is you could easily kind of get overwhelmed. Like if you're around darkness just for long enough, you're not gonna feel good at all. You're gonna be like, man, I need to get out of here. You kind of need to you need to go back into the light because you're of the light. You're not of dark. Every time you go into dark, you're gonna just feel like nasty in a way. You're gonna be like, man, I don't even feel right over here. Like this place is like the energy is just like it's too dark. Like I need to get out of here. But yeah, this is where you don't fit in either. This is why you don't fit in. Because you don't fit in based off your energy. You don't fit in because your energy is totally different. You have a way different energy for you. That's why you have trouble like fitting in. This is why you don't fit in. The only one you fit in with is God. That's who you fit in with because you're his possession. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. This is something I've always thought about ever since I was younger. I'm like, it's like I know I'm sensitive and like I never want to do people dirty, but why do people like do it so easily? And like I always knew it was wrong, but people thought it was like cool to do that, to be toxic and everything. But like that's not in you. If you know you're chosen, that's not in you. You're sensitive. You're a loving person. You're a kind person. You don't do people dirty. You have way too high of an energy. It's not even in you. It's basically below you to do that. Like it's not in you to do it. And if you ever try to stoop that low, which is near impossible for you to do, stoop low and like hurt other people, you're gonna know that it's wrong like immediately. It's like hard. It's like you would have to try. You literally have to try to do someone dirty. Like you have to be conscious of doing it. It's like impossible for you, but it's a good thing though. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you've been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe as well. Comment below. I love reading the comments, and also thumbs up the video. Thank you. And God bless you guys.